Hi, I'm Dr. Leslie Gray with Dermatology Center of Atlanta, and we are here today to follow up with Brandy from our Advanced Body Sculpting Center and the Advanced Skincare Center. She was gracious enough to be our model when we did the informational video about CoolSculpting for our Customer Appreciation Night. We did a series of videos, and we'll do them again coming in October. And Brandy was the CoolSculpting model, and she's actually featured on some of our ads that you might see. We at the Advanced Body Sculpting Center, we're kind of a little bit famous for our midsection makeovers, and that's kind of what Brandy had done as well. So before we kind of get into what she had done, I just want to kind of ask you, going back to the beginning, why did you decide to do CoolSculpting? Or what was bugging you that made you think, like, this is the thing I want to try?
I was really struggling, even with trying to lose weight. I was really struggling with just like my body shape. I've always had like the wider flank area that I've never been able to get rid of, the lower pudge that I couldn't get rid of. And so with doing the CoolSculpting, I thought, that would help give me more for the shape. And I do want to point out, because what you said about weight is important too, because CoolSculpting really does not work for weight loss, and it does not work if you actually have a significant amount of weight to lose, and that's why the consultations are so important to make sure you're a good candidate, and she was a great candidate. The CoolSculpting system works by actually freezing fat, and we actually have the CoolSculpting Elite, which is the most advanced CoolSculpting technology, where it's actually we're able to do twice as many treatments at one time as we did before. So there's 2 heads on each machine versus 1, and we actually have 2 machines, so we have 4 heads, which we're able to treat you with, which actually just makes your treatments go, I think, a little bit quicker. Each treatment session is only about 35 minutes, and so it makes, I think, the whole process a lot more efficient. You had that experience, and how many treatments now you've gone through since the Customer Appreciation Night? You've gone through how many rounds? 2 rounds.
2 rounds. And you treated what areas?
I've treated my abdomen and my flanks, and then after I actually ended up treating my chin area.
Yeah, which sometimes happens too, because you start seeing the results of what happens with other areas. And CoolSculpting doesn't just do the abdomen and flanks, it also treats the chin. It can do the arms, the legs, thighs, so other areas as well. When you, so let's go to your treatments themselves. When you're actually hooked up to the CoolSculpting Elite, what does it feel like?
For the first few minutes, it's cold, and then after that, it's fine. You just kind of sit there and watch TV or read a book or work on your computer.
Does it hurt?
It doesn't hurt. It's cold. It's, for the first few minutes, it's really cold, but it's not anything that's uncomfortable.
And after the treatment is done, there is a massage that happens, correct? Is that painful?
It's not painful. It feels weird.
Yeah.
So it's just the skin is really cold. And so then they're rubbing on it, and it just feels, it's kind of tingly. And then afterwards, like that day, the next day, were you aware that you had something done, or how did you feel? I didn't have any indications that I'd had it done, other than the area that was treated is numb a little bit. And so when you continue to do your massage the next day, it just feels different. Because the area is numb.
And that's normal. That numbness can last sometimes several weeks. It also sometimes, I think, I had it done as well, and when I had it done, it also, there's a little bit of swelling, and so you're doing this, CoolSculpting to kind of affect the shape, and then you're like, oh, it's a little bit swollen, but did you notice that as well?
I didn't notice as much swelling on my abdomen as I did kind of on my flank area.
And that can be normal. So what CoolSculpting does too is that the areas that are treated, so that the CoolSculpting, when I talk about the different arms or heads that it has, wherever it's placed, about 20 to 25% of the fat cells in that treated area will, over about a 3-month period, go away. And what's nice is when you're doing that, the number of fat cells we have on our body is kind of determined by adolescence, and it just remains. And when we gain and lose weight, those fat cells are just getting bigger and smaller. So if we're taking away the number of fat cells that are there, even though you're gaining and losing weight, your shape has changed permanently, which is nice. And that's something I've noticed myself. I think we had talked about that earlier, about how it's not necessarily even it's the way you look. So again, when you were talking about your problem areas or your pudge and things like that, it's just it's less of it. So even though you will gain and lose, your shape is permanently improved.
Yes, and even though like you were saying, like you don't lose weight, like the scale wasn't going down, but I could feel that my clothes fit better, or they fit differently. My pants sat differently on my, on my hips, or they weren't as tight on my, abdomen area. So I didn't have like that muffin top as much from treating my flanks.
Yeah. And when did you start seeing your results?
I started seeing some results about 4 to 6 weeks in, but I really didn't see, I continued to see those results for about 2 or 3 months. And about 3 months was really, I feel like, whenever I saw that final kind of result.
And it can take 3, some people even a little bit longer because they say they continue to see an improvement with it, which is exciting. I've had a similar experience where it was about 4 weeks where I'm like, I think I see something. And then probably about 12, 14 weeks or so when I was like, okay, that looks really good. And that's so exciting.
It was a little bit harder to see my results for my abdomen, I feel like, than my flanks. Because I can remember coming in one day after like the weekend and I was like, oh my gosh, Amber, we have got to take my like 4-week flank pictures because I just feel like there's such a difference.
But see, I have pictures and you'll see her pictures too. I think they're going to come up on the video when we're going to have this edited. But I took some pictures for myself of you, like this was kind of before, during, and after, and that's your abdomen. And I think that's just like such a significant improvement. Like that's amazing.
Yes.
And you'd shared with me kind of how that made you feel too, and kind of tell them kind of what happened after you started seeing the results.
So after I started seeing the results, I really started to be more self-conscious about what I was eating or what I was drinking, because I could see the results and I was like, I want, it can only do so much, but I wanted more because it just made me feel better. And it made my clothes fit better. So it gave me that motivation to want to do more.
Because didn't you have a bad, was it a soft drink habit or what?
I had a really bad soft drink habit. Soda was my weakness.
And that kind of helped you. And that wasn't obviously an intent of this at all, but it was like kind of a welcome side effect, right? Correct?
Yes.
And you have lost weight. I mean, so, Truth in Advertising, some of her pictures that you'll see, how much, you've lost significant weight too.
I have. I've lost about 45 to 50 pounds.
But again, not from CoolSculpting. It was just really
cutting out sodas.
And being motivated by seeing some results. And I see that a lot too, where I think sometimes when you look and you feel a little bit better, it does make you want to take better care of yourself, which I think, again, is really exciting. So tell me about, like, we talked a little bit earlier too about things you now that you see your results and they're beautiful, but you still want to do a little fine tuning. So what are your plans with CoolSculpting for the future?
So we're going to do my second round of flanks, and I would like to also eventually treat my inner thighs. And go from there.
Yeah, and you look amazing. I mean, the results are so beautiful, and I love that it has such obviously a natural look for it, because there is an art to CoolSculpting too, where the applicators are placed, who's treating is really important too. At our Advanced Skincare Center, we have only CoolSculpting University trained people as well that are the providers, as well as a master's trained CoolSculpting provider too. So that's kind of unique with us. We, I think, provide very thorough and comprehensive consultations, which is so important because you have to make sure that you are a good candidate and that the CoolSculpting will actually work for you. Then if you're interested in CoolSculpting to see if a midsection makeover or any of the areas that we treat with CoolSculpting are right for you, schedule a consultation. The consultations are complimentary, and it's really more about education. Just at Dermatology Center of Atlanta in general, we believe in education. So we're happy to kind of share our knowledge with you, and we would love to help you find out if CoolSculpting is right for you. Thanks. Bye.